presents From the Archives. Chapter 44, What's the Time, Mr. Wolf? Part 3, Everything Tag.
Right. Let's talk, shall we?
Oh, another one of those. Interesting. Do they just manifest on their own, or do you have to try it? And can you hear through them? Like, if I went around the back of a building and talked into this, would you know what I said?
I think I'm getting why you and Zedaph are friends. Nothing. So, well... honestly, I've been wanting to speak to you for so long, I'm not really sure where to start. I'm a big fan of your work.
Aw, shucks. Really?
Yes. I wanted to ask... well, I've heard about quite a few of your projects, though I've only experienced one in person. I used to be a student of architecture before... life got in the way. But I'm fascinated by the sort of effect you've managed to create in your buildings. I guess I just want to know... how do you do it? And what are you doing here?
That's a long answer.
Perfect.
Okay, well, I won't bore you with all the backstory, but I got interested in this stuff when I was a teenager. I found a spooky door near my house, went inside it, it was all dark and weird inside. I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. I left intending to come back with a camera and explore more, but when I went back the next day and tried to find the door again, it wasn't there. I tried a lot of times, could never find it. I knew I hadn't imagined it, so the best guess I could come up with was that it had been some sort of fluke. Like, some factors I couldn't understand had come together to produce that result, right? It fascinated me. And no matter where I looked or who I asked, nobody, at least no resource I had access to at the time, could explain it. So a couple weeks later, I sat down in my room, opened the first notebook of many, and started trying to figure it out myself. I started with... hold on. I started with just these two as, not even categories really, but characteristics. I knew that place had been dark, and I knew it had been hot. I might have said something else for the second one at first, but those were the best ways I could sum up what was weird about that place, so that's what I started with. So we've got dark, and we've got hot. And I figured if those categories exist, the opposites probably do too, right? If it's possible for something to be too dark, it's probably also possible for something else to be too bright, right? I ended up with wet and colorful as my placeholder words, which I know, I'm bad at naming things, okay? Don't say anything.
So you were sorting... what, exactly?
I don't know if you guys have a name for them. Zed and I just tend to call them phenomena. But you know what I mean, right? All of it. The stuff that can't be explained. I wanted to see if there was a way to generate those effects consistently. For science. And, for fun. Also.
Why architecture?
Well, that's where my first experience was. I didn't really realize you could have this stuff also attach itself to just people or objects or events until a lot later. I was just thinking of it in terms of spooky buildings, and I was already interested in design and engineering, so it just sort of made sense to me. I started with these 4 categories, but before long I started turning up instances that didn't fit into any of them. I made a lot of lists and charts trying to sort them all out into some sort of system.
We've got a letter and some blueprints in the archives. First time I heard your name, actually. From an old professor of yours in university. About some projects in a design class.
That's where those ended up? No way! I was always wondering where those drafts went. That was the library and... a couple others, right? What else?
The library, the twin apartment buildings, and the, escape room thing?
Right. Oh man, what a time. Those were some of my first projects that actually went anywhere. I had a lot of attempts before that, but they were all duds. That was a great class.
So, this system you've been working on, how would you sort out those projects and that, would you say?
Oh, yeah, sure. Hold on. Let me just... So I mentioned I started with 4 categories and kept adding more as more specific stuff started coming up. Like, I think I was up to 20 at one point, but that got really unwieldy, so I've been trying to group them together in a way that makes sense and includes everything. It's a work in progress? Currently, I've got 9-ish. So the library I would put under this category. I called it big for a while, but Zed made fun of me for that, so now it's infinite. Working name, these are all working names. But that's the sky, the ocean, caves, and tunnels. Things that are bigger or older than you can comprehend. That's why that one was a library, because you can never read everything in it, you know? It's about stuff that's overwhelming. From what Impulse has told me, your Pearl is definitely here. Being lost more generally is also under this one for right now. I've sort of thought about splitting it off into its own thing, though. The problem is that a lot of these have, like, subgroups that can be rearranged into their own sections. The apartment building I started on just after I met Zed. It was kind of inspired by his whole deal. You know, things that should make sense but don't. Things you can't look at straight on. Logic that falls apart if you push on it too hard. That's the category that used to be colorful. Now it's science. Tentatively, subject to future change. Maybe you'll have some thoughts on this. I've been trying to figure out if you guys at the Institute should also fit under this one, or if what you've got going on is something different.
Interesting. What's your reasoning?
The research approach. Studying the incomprehensible, I guess. It's a commonality. But the effects on you are pretty different from the effects on Zed, so I'm not sure. It could just be like, what's the term? Convergent evolution?
If you want my opinion, I think there's definitely a difference, but... What other categories have you got?
Well, the escape room, that one's under what I'm calling murder, which is a pretty big category. That's all the killing, gore, blood and violence stuff. Like the spookification event, what just happened here with the wolves. That's also murder for sure.
Okay, so what is your explanation for what happened here? If you've got one. Because I was in there, and my head is a little clearer now, but it was definitely... Yeah, it's strange.
Oh, I was just explaining this to Impulse. Think of it like... You said you studied architecture, right? You know, live load and dead load?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, perfect. Imagine you've got a bridge, and the bridge is reality. You have your dead load, which is like most normal, real things. Your people, plants, houses, everything like that. Stuff that's always there, more or less, and the bridge is already adjusted to support all that, so you don't have to worry about it collapsing. Okay? But then you've got your live load, which is your spookiness. And any given part of the bridge is only rated for a certain amount of spookiness at any given time. A little bit is fine, but if you ever have too much spookiness at a certain part of the bridge, and probably specifically too much of a certain type of spookiness, it starts to, collapse, is my theory. What happened here, so far as I can tell, is there was some sort of confrontation or escalation with a creature that was already all wrapped up in murder-flavored spookiness, and it was just a little bit too much for the bridge to handle. It didn't collapse exactly, but it cracked, and that led to all the, everything.
Yeah, that's Joel. Friend of mine. I think his wife chased him down.
Ah, that'll do it. The two things I'm trying to figure out now are... First of all, why did it stop? And second of all...
Second of all, what?
Well, this time was accidental, right? What would happen if someone tried to do something like this on purpose? Break the bridge.
So, have any of you seen Grian?
Well, I'm pretty sure he tried to rip my throat out at one point in the forest, but so did 2 other people here, so I don't hold it against him.
I said I was sorry.
And I said I don't hold it against you.
I'm not sorry.
Don't care. Didn't ask.
Anyways, I saw him a while ago, before everything ended, so we tried to kill each other a bit first, as you do. He was being all weird.
Oh, that's not great. Weird how?
Can we talk about this somewhere else? I want to shower.
I still need to find Scar, too. Did anybody else come out here with you?
Yeah, there was... Wait. No, it was just Lizzie and I. Oh, but I had a message from Jimmy when the cell service came back. He said he was going to come pick us up. Do you need a ride?
No, I've got one, I think. I'm getting picked up whenever my friend finds his way here. He just gets lost easily.
If you're sure. Oh, also, Joel, when we get home, there's a girl sleeping on my couch who's got something following her that needs chased off. You can be useful for once.
But, hey, I'm more than just a set of teeth, you know.
But you'll do it, right?
Well, obviously, I'll do it.
So, your categories. You were talking about murder. Would you put Dogwood Center under that one too? The stage?
So the intention with that project was actually a different one of my categories, but it wound up kind of crossing over with... Hold on. 2? Yeah, 2 other ones, one of which was murder. Which I didn't intend. I don't actually design things to kill people. For the record, it just keeps happening. By coincidence. What I was trying to do was work in a category I hadn't really gone into before, which I'm tentatively calling social situations. So that's stuff like loneliness and, I don't know, everything else about messy interpersonal stuff that scares people? I don't really get it. But I felt like a stage would be a good way to experiment with that, because it's literally about playing roles that aren't you, right? But mea culpa, okay? I sort of underestimated how intense people can get about plays. Theater people are terrifying. So when that first opening night happens, I don't know if you know about it, but it wasn't pretty. So after that, I recategorized it under murder. But then, recently, I broke off another category to match science I'm calling art, and I'm thinking about moving it there instead. I can't really decide.
Art. Do you know Cleo?
The scary sculptor. I know of her. I've never met her. Mostly for my own safety.
You're smarter than me then. Which maybe isn't saying a lot, admittedly, but, What are the rest of your categories? You said 9. I've heard 5 so far.
Yes! So I also have one I'm currently just calling bugs. Or maybe bugs. All caps. That's bugs. And other stuff like parasites, spiders, and the fears that go along with, like, being controlled by the things inside of you. But mostly bugs. Then there's another one that used to be grouped together with bugs, but that I split off into its own thing. That's, immobilification, which is like being trapped, being sick, not being able to see, having stuff grow on you. I had Cleo there for a while before I moved her to art, which is more, like, creative? Active, I guess? Immobilification is like rot and mold and being buried. I've never really managed to do anything with it yet, construction-wise. I've got a buddy who was not big on the idea of a compost bin, so I sort of went back to the drawing board on that one. And then, what am I forgetting? Oh! There's inevitability. Or death. I might just start calling it death, because that's basically what it keeps boiling down to. I don't have much personal experience with that one, either. Honestly, I'm not too eager to mess with it. Most of what I know comes from Joe.
You're a friend of Joe's, then?
Yeah. Honestly, I just assumed that you two had probably met already, if you know Cleo.
I have not, no. Not for a lack of trying. Didn't get me anywhere good.
Oh, so the feathers aren't an archivist thing. That makes sense. Though I wonder...
What?
Nothing. I'm just thinking out loud all the time. So the last category is a weirder one, and I'm still not sure about it, but right now I'm calling it climate change? That's the one that used to be dry and hot at different times, but it also has a lot to do with fire, weather, destruction, devastation. I guess now that I'm saying that, maybe it should just be called change?
So you don't have a category for... Sorry, let me start again. You said you'd put this whole bridge-breaking event under murder, right?
Right.
You don't have a category for, like... chasing? Not necessarily violence, but being chased, being followed... watched?
I don't. Right now, that would just all go under murder. Or social situations, depending on the circumstance. Do you think I should?
Yeah, actually. I've been thinking about the difference between me and Zedaph since you asked about it, and I think it's that. I've recently had a... well... recently I found out that people I talk to about their experiences have been having recurring nightmares. About being watched. By me. I've had, an encounter myself with something I think definitely fits under murder. Before I worked at the Institute. And that was definitely very different from both my experience working there and, this event here with Joel.
Okay. So you'd put this event with the wolves in the same category as the Institute?
Maybe. I'm not sure. I think that's a shared aspect, for sure. There's also... well...
There's also...
there are a couple outliers I've encountered that I don't think fit anywhere under your categories.
Hit me with them. Nothing improves a system like stress testing.
You said spiders are under bugs, right?
Bugs. For now, yeah.
There's a man who came into the archives. He goes by Doc. I don't know his full name. Who had an encounter with something... spidery. And came away with some very weird ideas about, the nature of reality. Maybe he just got a bit cracked in the head, but he did know some things he shouldn't necessarily have known. So I've been wondering about it.
Huh. Are you sure they're related to the same encounter?
I wondered about that, but based on his account, it seems to have been a pretty direct cause and effect from one to the other. So I'm assuming so.
Yeah, I haven't really encountered spiders as a recurring element on their own. They just haven't been all that significant compared to bugs generally. I did think about spiderweb designs at one point, like radial constructions. What was your other outlier?
An older one, from a century or two back. There was, someone who conceptualized of what he called a god. A creature of knowledge. Which seems to have granted him some, let's say, secret knowledge, including a technique for prolonging his own life. I can't tell you that much more, but I can tell you that he was associated with the Institute.
Oh, now that's something new. So that's involved with the Institute. Knowledge, huh? I wonder. Hey, what have your experiences been with eyes?
Eyes? Why?
Well, Zed was telling me about a time recently he dropped by and visited you. And he's... well, you know how he is about explaining things. But one thing he was very clear about was that when you looked at him, he felt... the phrase he used was... pulled apart.
Seems everyone's got things to say about my eyes lately.
They're very striking.
How? I don't understand. They look the same as they always have. Don't they?
Well... first of all, I can't tell what color they are. And your pupils have also gone a little funny if you weren't aware. Like, increasingly, as we've been talking. They looked sort of sharp when you came in here. Like a bird's or a cat's. Now they're more... rectangle.
Huh.
Zed told me when you were asking him questions, it was the most together he'd felt in ages. And he couldn't not answer.
Yeah. I wonder.
What?
Nothing. I need to go. I've got something I need to look into.
Do you want to wait here until Impulse comes back? He was looking for you.
No. No, I can, tell him I'll meet them back at the Institute. I've just got something I need to do first.
Okay. Oh, and, don't forget this. It is yours, right?
From the Archives is a fanfic series written by Johnny 16th Days and Zephaniah Grains, inspired by the Magnus Archives and by Hermitcraft and other Minecraft series. This chapter was performed by Elijah Lakey as Tango, Tizzy as Grian, Chrisrin as Impulse, nerdy-valkyrie as Scott, WB Salem as Joel, and Ella as Lizzie. Editing for this episode was done by CJ and CrinkleFish. Music was composed by Noctude. Thanks for listening.